Hey YouTube, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're doing something a little bit different and just having a bit of a casual discussion about the future of Animal Crossing as a series, as a video game on Nintendo Switch or Nintendo Switch 2. So thank you so much for being here. Be sure to leave a like on the video, of course, it helps out a bunch. And let's jump straight in. So yeah, just a casual video today because I really wanted to just chat about the future of the franchise, where we're at, where we think we'll be in a few months, and it's good practice for me to kind of just do some freestyle commentary without the script writing, which is something I rely on all the time. But anyway, we are of course pretty much in between games. Animal Crossing New Horizons hasn't had an update in months. Animal Crossing Pocket Camp has pretty much just finished now after 8 long years, which is pretty crazy. So we're kind of in limbo right now. In between games, we don't know where we're going, we don't know if we'll get a surprise update, if we'll get a new game, a spin-off, things like that. So yeah, do you know what, we're approaching the anniversary of Animal Crossing as well, so there's kind of lots of questions like, are we going to hear news soon, will it be in the springtime? We just don't know where we're at. So I thought we'd start there. Basically, the anniversary is around the corner. We've got, essentially, if you can count it, New Horizons 6th anniversary in the spring, so in a couple of months time, and that kind of falls in line with the series as a whole's 25th anniversary. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, surely that is a huge milestone and something Nintendo would want to celebrate. So I'm kind of feel like we might not hear anything for a while, but if there was a time in the near future that we would hear something about kind of what's next for Animal Crossing, it would be in the spring around the 25th anniversary. Sorry, I feel like it's kind of a given. It's a must. Surely they'll want to celebrate it. But yeah, so the anniversary is around the corner. I feel like that's when they will announce something. Even if they announce something that's like 3 years down the line, or that they're working on something, I feel like we will hear something then. So it kind of leads on to, what will the next thing be? Will it be a mainline game? Will it be a port of an older retro game? Will it be a spin-off of something new? Will it be a surprise update? Obviously, we just don't know, but we do love to speculate. We do love to just kind of build a bit of hype and just enjoy the franchise and be a bit positive. So I guess we could talk about each. If it was a new mainline game, I don't know if they'd do something like Animal Crossing New Horizons 2, if they kind of revisit the tropical island thing. I'm not sure they would do that, so maybe it would be something else. And of course, we have had rumors about a city, so maybe, I don't know, maybe that reinforces the fact it might be in a city, and that is the direction they could go if it was a new mainline game. I mean, it's got to happen eventually, right? And I just can't see them doing a tropical island or a deserted island again, so yeah, I mean, we've gone from kind of a small town to a bigger town to a city, and a town with a city and a main street and stuff, to an island. So I don't really know where the next logical step is for a mainline, but I'm sure they have a pretty good idea. Now, if it was a port, I think that's a little bit more feasible. I'm not going to lie. I think the next step would be to port New Leaf. I think New Leaf would be a great port. It's a very different Animal Crossing game, probably the most Animal Crossing-y game, if you ask me, and many fans, I think, will agree with that. So I think that would be an amazing game for anyone who's an Animal Crossing fan or Animal Crossing New Horizons fan to jump into New Leaf. I think they would absolutely love it. I do think that would be kind of the next logical step, because maybe you could even expand on the main street of New Leaf and build that up into a bit more of a city. So I think as a basis of a game, that would be a really good thing to do. I don't know if it'd be like a direct port or a remake or something, but I think a mainline game would take a long time to make. And I think, given the story and potentially the groundwork of New Leaf is already there, just to build off of, like, you know, the what public work projects there'll be, what buildings they'll have, like a lot of the ideas are there. That could cut a lot of development time in half. So I do think they would consider a port. But it could be a spin-off. We've had several spin-offs over the years. We've had Pocket Camp, of course, which is probably the longest running spin-off ever, maybe, that gets regular updates or got regular updates. We've had Happy Home Designer and, of course, technically Happy Home Paradise, if you include that as somewhat of a spin-off. We've had Amiibo Festival. So they really could do anything. They could do anything, any kind of genre game, and just put Animal Crossing's theme on it, pretty much like they did with Amiibo Festival, and they could release a spin-off. It could be a small game, it could be a massive game. I don't really know if they would go that route. I think we've had successful spin-offs, and we've had not so successful spin-offs. So for Animal Crossing, at least, I don't know if they would do that. I am leaning more towards the port or the remake kind of or a modernization of an older game over a mainline or a spin-off at this stage. Anyway, of course, the alternative to all three of those things is a surprise update or a Nintendo Switch 2 edition of New Horizons at least, which I'm surprised, honestly, that we haven't had yet. I really thought we were going to have one at launch, then it didn't happen, but we are now seeing, as you know, other Nintendo Switch games being re-released or kind of getting nice sort of surprise updates as Nintendo Switch 2 edition, so there is a chance this could happen. And I think, if a new game is in the works and it's miles away, it's like years away from releasing, they could just do a Nintendo Switch 2 edition to try and pull in some Switch fans over to the Switch 2 and maybe give a little bit more content, and that's something feasible. Now, how would that work in terms of cross-play and online multiplayer? I do think if they did do that, they would have to kind of focus on Tour Timers Island. I've said this in a couple of videos. They couldn't add anything core to the game. Like, they couldn't upgrade nukes, even as much as I want them to, unless they upgraded the Switch version as well, which I don't think they'll do at this point. They can't really add anything to the island because you just wouldn't be able to visit then a Switch 2 island because there'd be this massive nooks cranny that isn't in your game, so it just wouldn't work, basically, I don't think. And I know you have to match versions, so maybe, I don't know. I can't see them adding anything to the core gameplay or the island itself. So if they did add something new content-wise to a Switch 2 version of New Horizons, it would have to be something that you would travel to, like the Nook Islands or the Mystery Tours or Cap'n Boat or something that's in the game. Even like Happy Home Paradise, something that's in the game, but you have to travel to it. So it doesn't affect any visitors coming to your island if you were to play online with Switch 1 users, for example. So I could see them doing that. I think the biggest fault in New Horizons is the multiplayer aspect. It is really charming, don't get me wrong, but it does get maybe a little bit tedious, or maybe, I don't know, I don't want to say anything too negative about it because we all love it, of course, but they could have done a lot more with the multiplayer, and I think a way to redeem that, or to fix that, especially for how much they're pushing kind of Switch 2 users kind of collaborating with each other and using like game chat and stuff, I do think bringing in another multiplayer aspect such as Tour Timers Island would be a great thing. And if you don't know what Tour Timers Island is, or you have no idea what I'm talking about, it's essentially an online multiplayer lobby, or what would be a server or something, where you kind of travel to, you meet random players or go there with friends, and then you just play a bunch of mini games. It's really cool. It could be a spin-off, but I would love for them to kind of attach it to New Horizons and do it that way. I generally think they could do something like that. And that would be a really good Nintendo Switch 2 edition. It would probably draw a lot of fans over if they're on the fence with the Switch 2 and they've not kind of keen on any of the games that are out at the moment, and they're a huge Animal Crossing fan, which there are nearly 50 million players. There's got to be loads out there that would maybe be on the fence. That could push them over to a Switch 2, and I'm sure Nintendo are thinking of things like that. Now, as I said, whatever it will be, whether, I don't know, maybe they'll do that new Animal Crossing movie, whatever it is, I do think we'll hear something in the spring. A 25-year anniversary for any game is a huge milestone, and we know Nintendo love to do anniversary kind of celebrations or marketing promotion, re-release games, things like that, and they do Mario, Zelda, Pikmin, all these kind of things. They're big franchises. Animal Crossing is one of their big franchises now, so surely they'll treat it as such and do something in the spring. We do have to bear in mind, though, in the spring, there's two big games coming out, Pokemon Pokopia and, of course, Tomodachi Life Living the Dream. One is a Switch game, Tomodachi Life Living the Dream, so it'll be on Switch and Switch 2, and Pokopia is only a Switch 2 game, at least as far as what we know so far. So, two big games coming in spring, so whatever it is for Animal Crossing, if we are right and we do see something in the spring, it probably won't launch alongside these titles, because those titles, especially for the kind of the cozy life sim farming genre on Switch, will carry the Switch probably the rest of the year. Pokopia apparently is getting DLC as well. Apparently that's been confirmed, so that game's gonna last a while. Tomodachi Life has a very long kind of gameplay style anyway, just through the nature of creating Miis and funny stories and things like that. So those two games will last a while. So even if we do get an announcement in the spring for Animal Crossing or New Horizons or something like that, we are probably talking 1 or 2 or 3 years in the future, unless it's some kind of port. And if it was a port, I could see them releasing it by the end of the year, kind of around Christmas time. That would be amazing for the franchise. So yeah, I don't really know. I do think a mainline game, if it was a mainline game, years away, right? If it's a port, probably end of next year. But either way, I do think we'll get an announcement in the new year, in the spring, probably in a February Direct or something like that, or maybe even they would save it for a potential, not an Animal Crossing Direct probably, but some kind of mini announcement around the anniversary of Animal Crossing. So just wanted to get a few thoughts off my chest. I wanted to practice a little bit of non-scripted commentary, so let me know how I did there. But yeah, sorry if I repeated myself. It's just fun. I think we're going to probably do a few more videos like this going forward because there is not much news, as you know. So it's a bit of a stretch to kind of keep the hype going for the franchise. Anyway, if we do hit something, of course, I'll be the first to upload it. So we've been doing Animal Crossing news for like 8 years now. We covered Pocket Camp's launch, we covered New Horizons launch, and we've been here since, so hopefully we'll be here to cover the next. So thank you so much for listening and watching. Please post future in the comments if you enjoyed this casual video. Let me know how I did, and be sure to include what you think the future of Animal Crossing is. I'd love to know. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.